Hey guys, welcome back. What a massive day of cycling.
Oh,
Jeez, where do we start, Iffy? We've had the Elite Men's World Road Championship done and dusted here in Wollongong, and geez, I mean, all right, let's start with Remco Evenepoel. That was absolute dominance for a guy so young. We've talked about it many times on the show. We've just had the Vuelta where he was dominant there as well. Uh, they tagged him as the future Eddie Merckx. There's a lot of people that said, that's big tags. He's too young. Wait and see. Far out, man. After what he did today, where, he went off the front, 40K to go. Then he peeled off 25K to go, and it was just over. It was all over. And he's just shown his dominance again.
yeah, no, amazing, right? It's as he got away with Let's go, and as soon as they opened that gap, it come right past the finish line there. I just happened to be standing in one of the VIP areas, and you could just tell. And I was standing with Stuart O'Grady, actually. I said, this is done and dusted, mate. There's 2.5 laps to go, or whatever it was. I said, he'll drop Let's go first time up this hill and win by a minute and a half. Well, he went by more than that, so I was a bit out. But look, what a ride. Seriously, it was just all class. And everyone else that was chasing was faltering. There was no one going to catch him. And the other big hitters so worried about Wout. So Wout wasn't going to chase. And they say they took back too long. And the Aussies actually rode a good race. They had a plan. They put a couple up there early. Luke Platt and Ben O'Connor in that front group, and things changed, and a small group got across, and they would be there to help Michael. It didn't pan out that way in the end, and I thought 5-6 kilos to go, that as good as Michael was looking, that he wasn't going to miss out on the medal. But that all changed in the last fraction where they just...
I couldn't believe it. It come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Come out of absolutely nowhere. But obviously they were playing cat and mouse in the group behind Remco. Yeah,
that old cat and mouse. Yeah, and normally when you do that, cat wins.
Yeah, exactly. Got live comments pouring in. Wendy Superfan says, hi guys, great race. Buster Thomas says, boys, what can we say? Stunning ride by Remco. Aaron Wright says, Remco is on another planet. Totally agree. Brian Hosking says, he is so good. And then Dan Hammersley says, was a great world champs, took courage from Remco. Aussies rode a great race too. Great finish for Bling. Look, in reflection from an Aussie perspective, to get a podium in your home worlds is a big achievement. Yes, they would have loved to have won it, but when you see a ride as good as that and as dominant as that, you got to tip your cap and just go, you know what, we'll take the podium, yeah?
Look, you just reminded me of something, because last time we had the Worlds, the only other time in Geelong, 2010, Albie and Davis got the bronze medal, so we got on the podium.
I
But
put money on it that year.
You can't get upset about being on the podium. We've only ever won one World Pro Road title. One. So getting on the podium, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, 100%. Obviously, the big talking point, spoke a little bit about the race. Big talking point was Mathieu Van der Poel. We were doing commentary throughout the day, and then we heard this story that, hang on, Van der Poel's withdrawn from the race, and we're like, hang on, what? What's going on? And then more stuff filtered through. And then as you were trying to get like feeds throughout the day, you were going, hang on, what is going on here? I've just read a bit of an article on cycling tips, and it's all saying the same stuff. There was, he had an early night. There was young kids, playing around in the hallway and banging on his door. And the gap lies in how he handled the situation, right? So we don't know actually what's happened, but he's been charged with 2 counts of assault. He's got to go to court on Tuesday, taking his passport. He's obviously a young guy. That would have rattled him as well. We don't know the details of what happened, but on a black and white situation, and this is what annoys me, is we are bringing world-class athletes to our country, right? We have a duty of care when they come to our country in terms of security to make sure that if they want to have an early night and go to bed, you don't have people banging on the door. Now, I don't know how he's handled the situation. We don't know the details. That's still to come. But at the same time, like, that just shouldn't, he should never been in that situation. I'm sorry. But when I
No,
read that or hear that,
that's true. I just bumped into a Dutch journalist who now is staying in Australia for a few more days because this is going to be such a big story. And I'm really
huge
glad,
story.
Dan, I'm glad you started with Remco winning the world title because that is the story you should have always started with. But this is going to, unfortunately, become a worldwide major story when the equal favourite comes out of the bike race in these circumstances. So this Dutch journalist was saying that I can't work out why that Mathieu didn't call his team or call the hotel desk, or he shouldn't have gone out to handle it himself. That's not his role to do. So that was what a Dutch journalist was saying. Like you, Dan, I don't know what happened. There are only two young girls, I think 14 or 15, I hear, just skylarking. He's trying to go to sleep. It's early as the morning. He's trying to, they're waking him up and he's preparing to try and win a world title. So naturally he's upset. So obviously, so late, maybe no one else to ring. I don't know the story. So he's come out in front of them, and then they maybe had a couple. I don't know. So I don't know the story. Evidently, it was pushed them, and one fell over, and it goes from that. So that's all I know. There's been a few stories went around, but it's narrowed down to about that. And you and I have been hearing the same stuff. Look, it's a real tragedy for the event because this will go on the next few days. It'll become a big story. And the Wollongong put on an amazing race. The whole week's been good. It's built. First few days, beautiful weather, then some rain, some challenging conditions in the juniors and the women's, now the 23s, and then they've just done the weather gods have turned up for them on the final Sunday. And I got to tell you, the start today. I had to pick Jerry up. He flew in this morning, got him to the start line, and they managed to do the whole drive along the race route in front of the race, which maybe slightly illegal. I did have a pass, sort of, but anyway. But it was sensational. Just the crowds were out. The sun was out. You saw a lot of those images, Dan, and I reckon everyone listening to the podcast watched it today. It was amazing, and I'm lucky enough to do a lap in one of the VIP cars in the middle, and it was like a Tour de France. The crowds up the hill were, multi-deep, screaming. A lot of dinosaurs running up the hill, like kids in dinosaur outfits. I don't know what the thing is with dinosaurs and Wollongong. I thought I was the only one here, but there were stacks of them running up both sides of the road.
Couple more live comments. Brett Richardson says, well said, Dan. Where were the parents? Mathieu Evenepoel has already served his punishment, in my view. Embarrassment for Australia. Will Wizard says he was staying in a hotel in Sydney, which was close to the start. Jim Bowe takes another side. He says, when Nasser Berhane, and this is a good point, assaulted another man over a noise complaint, he was rightly condemned by the cycling community. Yet when Mathieu Evenepoel is accused of assaulting girls, he gets pretty much universal support. It's for me
in the type of assault too, by the sounds of it. One was a push and one was a thump.
Yeah, exactly. And all you can do is talk about, as we said, we don't know the full details until they've fully come out.
Yeah,
we don't know. But on the surface of what we've been fed, we're not giving a categoric stance. But from my point of view, is can an athlete in Australia who's racing a world championship, who's a world champion athlete, do they have or do they not have the right to go to bed, have an early night, and that's the end of it? Like, yes, he's handled it wrongly. Yes, more details are going to come out. But if there are kids or whoever is knocking on the door, causing a fracas or whatever, where's the duty of care for professional athletes to go, you have the right to not have to deal with that. And if he has to deal with that, as you said, there's better ways of dealing with it. He's obviously made a mistake, whatever comes out. But at the same time, like, far out. Should 10:30 at night, like, banging on the door. Like, what's going on here?
I think it was even later, wasn't it? I thought it was later than that. But anyway, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, Stuart McIntosh makes a good point. Unfortunately, the big talking point for the event has nothing to do with the race, but that often happens in all sport, not just cycling. A very good point.
You're right, Stuart. But unfortunately, the world title in our home country and everything else about the day was amazing.
Yeah. There was a lot of talk about the course design, John.
Yep.
It was brutal. 12 laps of that circuit with that Mount Pleasant climb was always going to be tough. It was clear why someone like Caleb Ewan wasn't selected now for the Worlds, because that was not designed for a pure sprinter. But obviously with Michael Matthews finishing third, it was designed for someone that could get over those sort of punchy climbs. But how do you rate the overall course design? You said a couple of days ago, yep, I'm going to lay my cards down. It's even better than the Geelong course design. What's your final assessment now that's all done and dusted?
I disagree with you a little bit in that not on that part. It was a great course. Absolutely brilliant. That first part, everything about it delivered on all the different levels, wonderful aesthetics, the Sky Bridge or whatever that they call that was amazing, and all the Wollongong signs everywhere. It's so picturesque around here. The big circuit, the small, all brilliant. And it was tough, but not. Alexander Kristoff was sixth. I don't believe he climbs as well as Caleb. So
I thought you were going to get the one word out about Peter Sagan finishing seventh. I thought it was,
mate, don't bloody fret.
Jump the gun.
You jumped the gun, because look who's seventh. Peter Sagan, not going to finish. Be lucky to do. How many laps was he going to do? 3?
No, I said he'd pull out with 2 to go.
Oh, 2 to go. Oh, yeah, there you go. Well,
his brother had a good ride early on.
Yeah. But Peter Sagan showed that he's still got something left in the tank. Although, they end up sprinting for second. But that all was amazing how that came together in the last kilometre. Christophe Laporte just sprinted really well. He's in fine form this year. Michael Matthews, Wout van Aert, Mathieu, Trenton. You expect their names. Trenton, is a tough bike rider. Their names expect, but I didn't expect Christophe. I was surprised with Sagan. I didn't think he would be like you and just spat out the back, because he showed. I heard from someone that he wanted to come on the podcast to talk with you, Dan, but it's just the timing hasn't worked. But we'll get him on soon. I think he wants to have a word with you.
Settle the score. Bring it on. As you've seen on the detail, I'm ready to take the punches and throw a few myself. Not a problem at all. Yeah.
But all the rest.
Got a comment. Dan Hammersley makes a good point. Where was the POG? That was a big one. Like, I talked him up. I thought he was definitely going to be there at the final. And I thought if anyone's going to watch the wheels of Remco or any of those attacks, it was going to be Tadej Pogacar, particularly given that he won Montreal.
Yeah, he had a bit of bash around about 2 laps to go, or 3 laps to go, trying to split it up and have a go. But yeah, obviously, just didn't have it on the day. I don't know why everyone was worrying so much about Wout van Aert when they had Evenepoel up the road. It wasn't hard to work out that was their 2-pronged attack, which I spoke about last night. Exactly that. That's how they would play it.
It was interesting with 2 laps to go when Wout van Aert went on the front and started trying to pull the gap back. I was thinking, oh, geez, okay. Well, you've got Remco. I don't
think he was doing that.
Well, what was he doing?
He was on the front. If you looked, he was getting them all back into one bunch, which would sit back again, which is exactly what he did. And then they all sat up. But when he went that, there was 2 there, 3 there, come up the road. And he brought them all back together. Okay, sure, when they got on, he then put a bit of a turn on, and then they all settled down, and he dropped back. I think it was a smart move. I don't think he was trying to close the gap.
Okay, so the Wheel Wizard, he said Pogacar was in the sprint for second and third. He didn't run in the top 20.
No, he was in that. There was 30 something in that group.
Yeah,
He was there. He was there. He just didn't. Yeah, he didn't figure in the sprint.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a quick drinks break. When we come back, we've got plenty more to unpack from the road race. Stay tuned. Plenty more detail.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace, with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Thanks again to our great friends at Bike Exchange. They've been massive supporters of the Detour podcast. Get over to bikeexchange.com.au. You need a road bike, mountain bike, e-bike, gravel bike. They've got massive sales and you'll be supporting local dealers. So there's only one place to go, as we said, bikeexchange.com.au, John.
Exactly right, mate. They're a superstar company who back a superstar bike team who just finished third in the World Professional Road Championship.
Good points. Good points for relegation.
Good points.
Juicy.
Yeah, no, they look okay. I spent because Jerry's been away and spent the afternoon with Jerry talking about all of that. And we're in the VIP for a while. And there was a dog in there, so I've just sent you the photo. If you get that and show that up after.
You've got the dog. Here it is.
Yeah.
That's a good-looking dog. It looks like a dog off the Chum ads.
It's the most beautiful dog, actually. And I took a little bit of video of it too. But I thought there's good talent there for Jaco to sign up. But I see they've signed Stybar.
Yes. Big signing.
Big signing. Like, he's not a youngster anymore. I think he's 38, but he's a good bike rider. Second twice in Paris, 2017, and won some big races. And coming from, Quick Step with all that experience, Lefebvre type attitude, I think he'll be a very good signing.
Oh, definitely. Now, I just took a screenshot of the latest relegation points, Johnny. I think they've updated them after the Worlds. So there you go. Bike Exchange Jaco, they've plonked themselves up to 15th in front of EF. So, yeah, they should be safe. It's now a battle between Lotto Soudal. They're on 14,540 points, and Cofidis are, what are that? About 800 points in front. Israel Premier Tech are miles behind. But, yeah, I mean, I saw Ride Magazine, Rob Arnold, asked a question to the UCI president and put it on him. Basically said, years of pandemics and the effects that this has had on the calendar. And now you've got, like, your premier event for the year. You've got teams that aren't sending riders out for the reason of the relegation points. This has had a massive effect on the season, but I didn't see his answer. But I thought it was a really good question. He just hit him straight up. So is there any update? Will Wizard said points are not updated until Tuesday. So, be interesting to see the update with that.
Yep. So the reason that Bike Exchange have been moving up is because of placings of Dylan Groenewegen over the last few days. and so they'll even go further up. Interesting. I'm not. I haven't. I've been busy this week. I haven't seen. I heard about Rob's question, which is great. I haven't seen the answers either, so I'll have to have a look of the president. But I've heard a rumor that there was negotiations still going on here over the last 2 days. So I guess we'll see what comes out of that.
Will Wizard says, Wout said on Belgium TV he didn't know Remco was in front until a lap and a bit to the finish. That's interesting. And then he said, no radios makes excellent races. You reckon that's true?
Well, it surprised me he didn't know he was out front. I think what he meant, he didn't know he was away alone in front. He knew he was out in front of him, but I guess he didn't know he was out front alone. And that could be true. They're not on race radios, and haven't got their team managers there. We've got their national teams, and they're not driving up and calling them back and talking to them. And so it's the old style of racing at the Worlds. It changed. I think actually Geelong was the first race in the world to stop the radios at the World Championship. It's still there in every other World Tour race, but not the world titles.
Dale Simons makes a good point. He said, great race today, but the World Champs are a long race. Tell me about it. Would be great to see if it could go from a test match to a one-day. They have tried this at the Tour de France with more compressed stages. I like, traditional, it's got to be long, it's got to be this, got to be that. But, mate, what is cycling? Cycling's entertainment. Why wouldn't you just try a shortened version? Or do we have to just go, it's got to be 270, got to be 260? Why? Like, why? Why not shorten it and just even it up for everyone?
I love the fact that they shorten a lot of the tour stages. I think it works because, you got 3 weeks of racing. If they're 180K or 240K, it's still a really tough event. And they still work a couple of longer ones in here and there. World title is a special event. The world title, those rainbow jerseys are to be given to
the hardest man or hardest woman.
Not the hardest man, but it's a very, very prestigious, it is the most prestigious jersey in cycling, I believe, more so than the other jersey. And you're going to wear that for the year as the champion of the world. It's got to be the full distance. I would not want to change the world's distance one bit.
Will Wizard said 281 Ks in Glasgow next year. Yep. Mate, that's taking the piss now. 281 Ks. That's
it's not as hard a circuit.
Yeah, but still 281 K. Why don't
you do
500 Ks? Just go 500. Just go even 266.9.
You're talking shit again, Dan. Seriously,
too much.
280. How far was today? 270.
Okay. You're talking to Dan. Dan, what's his brain about? Entertainment, TV, fans, spectators. That's all I care about. You're iffy, the old school bike rider, tradition, gotta ride, hard man, brother. But mate, you lose sight. It's about entertainment.
You go and ask the people standing on that road today, the 200 and something thousand standing on the road. How many of them say, would you like to have been 2 laps less? They weren't bored. They loved every second of it.
There was 100 Ks
race. And part of it, the whole race.
Change it. Sorry, I'm running the show now. It's all about entertainment. Change it, shorten it. Boring. There's too many boring parts of the cycling race. They need to fix it. I don't care about this traditional crap you talk about. It's all about entertainment. All about getting fans. Mate. All right, world title. In Australia, they only broadcast the last, hour on free-to-air or 2 hours?
3 hours.
Why? Yeah, 3 hours.
I told you a million times not to exaggerate, Dan.
Yeah, but not good enough. They broadcast the whole thing in first.
That's a different story.
Yeah, well, things need to change, Sean. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, you're going to get the same result. You've got to make a change. It's entertainment, mate. You got to shorten it.
You still get the same result. Yeah, that's right. You'll get an enormous race that's got 250,000 people, everyone excited.
When that break was formed, we had an hour and a half of you might as well watch grass growing. Honestly, like it's just got to change. Because every time there's shorter races, everyone walks away going, oh, my God, it was on from the gun. Yeah, why was that? Because so many more people. Because when it's long, you shorten the gap. Yeah, Remco, he's a freak. We know he's a freak. But if you shorten the gap, like bring it back together, then there's a handful of guys that's like anyone can win it. And I get it, the prestigious of it, but it's
Anyone can win it.
entertainment.
We don't want anyone can win it. We want
I
a
do.
world champion. We want we want
Mate, with 28K to go, I'll be honest with you. 28K to go. Okay, Remco's off the front. Great stuff, mate. Great stuff. You've won the race, but from an entertainment point of view, I was going, it's boring. He's won the race. Great. Now it's on for second and third. Sorry. They Will Wizard, they shortened Formula One. There you go.
Feel for the people listening to your podcast today. But anyway,
Sharon, she doesn't like what I said. She said, "Ask the fans that loved every minute of this race. Do not shorten the race." Sorry, Sharon.
Sharon. Yeah, we'll get bike people.
Mate, if I was running the show, you would not have a race over 200K. That'd be it.
If you were running the show, it would be a bloody chaotic mess.
Turn it up, Buster Thomas. He said, "Missed you both at the bar at the Sage Hotel, gents." Well, where were you, Buster? And
because we're up here.
Shut up. He's had enough.
A lot of support. Thanks, guys.
Jeez. Okay. Peter Knight says, short course world champ, long course world champ. So you could have two world champs.
Have a world crit champ, mate.
Dan Hammersley, he's with me. And Skull said boxing went from 15 rounds to 12. And Andrew Morton, he said he's 100% worth trying to change. Anyway, I need a breather. So we've got a video of this is Remco Evenepoel after the finish today.
I think how we raced today was really like a team. And as we said before, it doesn't matter how, but we want to become world champion with the team. And something that I've been dreaming of. And then now after a monument, a big classic, a Grand Tour, and now world champion, I think I won everything I could win this year. So I think a better season like this, I think I will never have. So it's going to be.
He's not lying.
He's not lying, right?
He's won everything.
I love him. I really enjoyed chasing him around. Get on your button.
Hashtag Team Iffy.
I really enjoyed chasing Remco around the Vuelta for the last month, and with interviews like that, he's been very, very giving of his time. So I've got a bit of time for the lad.
Brett Richardson says time trials are the short course champs. That's a good point.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Kieran Black says was pretty crap. They didn't have the full thing free to air in Australia. Shorter race, maybe they put the whole lot on. That's my point. Package it up. And then Dan Hammersley says, hope Remco doesn't get the world champs curse. I don't think so, Iffy. I think it's just the beginning. And on a positive note, I obviously got the one wood out there, but you think of the battles we're going to have now with your mate Vingegaard, Pogačar, Remco. There's so many hitters now in world cycling. Wout van Aert in the mix. It's just a plethora of talent that's just coming through. This is going to be a decade of the golden age of cycling. This is it. Strap yourself in.
Mate, I am so looking forward to the Tour de France next year. I mean,
it's huge.
Those names you just said, and I can see him all of that, and throw in Roglic too, because he's not dead yet.
If Bernal can get back to full fitness.
Bernal, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just very, very exciting. And next year, you've got the Com Games only less than 2 weeks after the tour. They're early.
Com Games on next year.
Yeah.
No, the Worlds. Com
Games. The Worlds, because we're talking Glasgow. I mean the Worlds. So the Worlds in Glasgow are only 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks after.
Are they doing them in August?
Yeah.
Why are they doing that?
It's all part of this new. It's going to be every 4 years. So it's the first time next year they're going to have road cycling, mountain bikes, BMX, all and track, all in the 1 2 week period. So it's going to be amazing. And they're going to do that pre-Olympic
Right.
year from now on.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So, he gets ripped off only 11 months with stripes. Exactly. And,
Kieran Black
yeah.
says Remco got ripped off.
Ripped off only 11 months with stripes. Yeah, I can remember Scotty McGrory whinging about that. Something happened with him like that too. But anyway, shorter world
Gail
champs would be
Simon
good.
says shorter.
Go on.
Yeah,
Sorry,
he says shorter world champs would be good, but the UCI needs to sort out the big issue in cycling. First, sock lengths. Annemiek van Vleuten got fined 200 Swiss francs for having socks that were too long yesterday, John. Massive fine. That's
I
going to
know.
put a damper on
But they
the win.
actually weren't just a little bit too long. They went right to her knees. They look ridiculous.
Stockings.
They did, yeah. And they've got an advantage or whatever. She's probably a bit sore, I guess, from her crash. We've already talked about Annemiek, the goat, but still can't stop thinking about it. It was such an amazing ride, and gives the Dutch something positive to talk about other than what they're going to be talking about tomorrow. But anyway.
Jeez. Good luck to the Dutch media. They're out in Australia at the moment. As you said, their flights are going to be delayed until this show gets sorted. So anyway, we got bigger fish to fry, Johnny.
Yes, we've got celebrations to go. We've got to go and chase the Aussie team around, try and get a free beer somewhere. It'll be fun and game.
I'll just sit on your wheel, mate. You've got so much experience at this sort of stuff. So, hey, massive thanks to Mark Umpton and all the crew here at the Sage Hotel. Get on nexthotels.com/sage/Wollongong. You saw the pictures from the Worlds today. It's a great spot to visit on a holiday. It's only an hour 20 on the Rattler from Sydney. You can have a beachfront little getaway. And the hotel here is right on the water, Iffy. So there's plenty to do at the Gong. So, but massive thanks to the crew here because they've been a huge support. And as we said during the drinks break, a massive thanks to Bike Exchange because they have been such a huge support with all Jason and Sam and Mark and all the team at Bike Exchange since the inception of the podcast. And without those guys, we wouldn't be able to deliver a show. And you know, we're getting towards the end of the season and recapping what they've done. It's just been huge, mate.
Yep, they're great partners. And Dan, I know you a bit under the pump because you were podcasting all day. So tell us about what you're doing with Mitch.
So we did alternative commentary for the Rafa social channels, but under the Life in the Peloton brand that Mitch has built up a fantastic podcast since 2016. And he approached me and said, look, you know, we want to do alternative commentary for the whole day. And I thought, okay, well, geez, that could be 7 hours in the saddle. And it pretty much was. But it was a lot of fun. We dialed in you at one point, Iffy. We had Sam Bewley live from Europe for the last 50 Ks. We had Mathieu Van der Ploeg on the course. And then we had a heap of preloaded interviews. But, you know, we just commentated the whole stage and just had fun. And it was just a couple of blokes like sitting at the pub talking about cycling. It was great.
But it would have been a lot easier if they shortened the race. Then you wouldn't have to do it for so long. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's what my takeaway from today was. If they had have shortened it, would have made the alternative commentary gig a lot easier. Stuart McIntosh live comment says, any details on where and when we can see your work on Western United, which is the A-League soccer club, this season, Dan? Will it be on Netflix? As a big sports fan, I'm looking forward to it. Well, I can tell you that it's going to be on Paramount Plus and 10 Play. And I tell you now, mate, it's not like me to talk things up. This is one of the most epic underdog stories in not just Australian, but world sport. I was so fortunate to come on board with this project 4 months into shooting, but we were on board we've been working on it for 6 months now. But it's just a great, gritty, like All for One, like the Green Edge story. Obviously, this is a cycling podcast, and we're talking about soccer now, but great characters and super, super proud of the final product. So that's going to be out at the end of October on Paramount Plus and 10 Play. So there'll be a bit of marketing coming out over the next couple of weeks. We've almost finished the final episode. So can't wait to show it to everyone, Iffy.
Looking forward to seeing it myself, mate. And I saw a little bit of one early ep you sent me to put my. I don't know why, because I'm hopeless judging all that stuff, but it looked fantastic actually. So yeah, pretty special.
It's real inner sanctum stuff in the change rooms. A lot of F bombs.
People
Who
love
doesn't
that.
love Who doesn't love a good passionate F bomb? It's great.
Yeah.
So, but as we said, a really big thanks to everyone here in Wollongong, as we said, the Sage Hotel Bike Exchange. But thanks to you guys, youtube.com/the Detour Podcast. Thanks for all your support and telling all your mates. If you've been inundated with people that have come up to you talking about the podcast, your time here at the Gong.
Starting to feel famous, mate. People come up and
you're even dressing better. Look at you.
I've got the bag of fruit on here.
Yeah, look at that. Bloody celebrity. It's like a Navy Blues brother.
No, well done, Daniel, and to all our great listeners. And I don't know how we get the correct figures, because I have so many people have been coming up and telling me how much they love it and love our debates as well, Dan. But yeah,
it was a good one tonight. About the distance of the worlds. All right, let's go down to the pub and let's sort this out once and for all.
So we'll get a vision of it.
All right, we'll put it on socials. All right, thanks guys. Thanks Iffy. Great job this week. We'll speak to you again soon, guys. Cheers.